I am Doug Dahlberg, Director of IT Operations here at Applied Software. And today we're going to talk about top tips for enabling remote workers, specifically moving your fabrication database to the cloud. With us today on this webinar, we have Sean Hillgartner. And Sean, would you mind introducing yourself to this audience and telling them a bit of your background?
Yeah, not a problem. I am the Database Development Service Manager here at Applied Software. I have been working with this program, or as a lot of you can say, struggling with this program since 2004. I started off doing CAD, CAM, and NEST all at once. So nice big mess there. I've been in the mechanical field for 25 years. And actually spent some time installing and fabricating sheet metal, and a journeyman sheet metal worker. Not only that, but I've actually I had my own company for a while, and I love this program. I just don't love as much of this program all at once. I'm sure you guys are all used to that.
It's got that love-hate relationship. I think we all do that. I originally started with just using AutoCAD back in 1980-something, not to give away my age, but there's, you use 80%, 20% of the stuff 80% of the time because you love it. And there are certain things, I completely hear you. And that's great. You bring a lot of great experience, Sean. Also with us today on the webinar, we have Mr. Jason Schmidt. He is a solutions engineer here at Applied Software, and Jason's got an incredibly varied background. Jason?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, as Doug said, I'm a solutions engineer here with Applied Software. I have about 30 years, in the industry, in the AEC industry. Background mainly on the civil and architectural side. My focus is currently on collaboration and virtual technologies, and basically anything that can help an organization work better and more productive.
Excellent. You also bring a very strong networking and troubleshooting background in.
Yeah, so I've been on the technical side for quite a few years.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short there. You got quite a excellent resume when it comes to that kind of stuff there. So cool. Let's get into this. People are here to learn, and let's give them what we can. So, the not so new normal, right? We've all kind of got into this begrudgingly. We work from home for our own safeties, and honestly, this has been a challenge. This new normal, we don't know how long it's going to go, but we're all adapting together, right? Personally and professionally, these are very complex times, and we're all in it together. So over the last few weeks, we've had several clients that had issues on this subject. Let me just scroll my notes. And it's not everybody is having the equal success when it comes to doing this, right? Because this is kind of a complex setup. So, we've got Sean and we've got Jason in here today, and I kind of want to ask Sean about this simple little diagram, and just kind of tee it up for you. Can you run down on here what are some of the issues that people run into when all of a sudden they shift to a work from home model?
Yeah, most common problem is obviously the fabrication database. How do we get this to you so that you can work?
Right. So it used to be a centralized. Sorry.
No, I was going to say this may seem like it's a daunting task, that this may be something difficult to work with, but it really isn't that difficult if you know what to do and how to do this.
So we're going to learn from your experience. So everything you've bumped your toes on and bumped into and that kind of stuff you're going to share today, and we're all going to be much wiser for your learning experiences. Is that fair to say, Sean?
I hope so.
Don't sell yourself short, Sean. You were using Navisworks before it was Navisworks. So you've been in this industry for a very long time. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Another poll question.
Yeah, the question is your work from home solution working from you? And I'm going to poll Jason for this one. Jason, what are you seeing in the industry right now? Are people coming up against some obstacles there?
I think the biggest obstacle that everyone's seeing today is just access to their data in a productive manner. I think a lot of organizations, their users can get to their data. It's just how do we efficiently work, and that's the piece that's not always easy to solve. It's one thing to send someone home and have them be able to, get to a file and open it, but can they open that file in a productive manner? Is it efficient? Is it quick? And can they work with others remotely on those files?
All right. And it looks like it is a lot of people, it is working for them. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Jason.
Whoops.
Oh, all right. Let's go back. There we go. Yes. All right. Actually, this one's actually going to be for Sean. So Sean's going to kind of give us a brief rundown here on some of the Autodesk based products that we have here at Applied and kind of go through workflow here. So on this slide here, Sean, in the new normal work environment, just kind of tell us in your own words.
Well, the biggest solution to this problem is to get a nice smooth flow. What you need to do is you need to get your database in a location that's easily accessible so that you can work off of it. Now, when you're working in the cloud, sometimes it can be slow trying to, even though this is faster than working from your server through the cloud, it's still going to be on the cloud. Best thing to do here is to get a local copy of this down to your machine. And the best way that I've seen to do this is to use our Fabsync product. This actually looks at the data on the cloud, looks at the data on your machine, and makes sure that what you're working with is the latest that you can have. Dropbox, we have that listed up here because for this specific application, it seems to be the best of the cloud storage solutions to work with this just because of how its architecture is set up. So here we've got Fabsync. If you can see on this slide, there's a little bit of information regarding it. Fabsync, there's a few things, what it is. Fabsync's fast. It syncs in one direction to keep you from syncing the wrong way, which we know that's not going to be good. It's got a built-in backup system, one-touch restore, in case, again, there might be some kind of issues that arise. And it's a simple product in the way that once the initial setup is done, which the initial setup is easy to do, it's just a matter of a one-click to get things all synced up and make sure that you are working with the latest and greatest.
So what are some of the issues there as far as like, when you're syncing, you're talking specifically about the Fab database, correct?
Yes.
So you were mentioning earlier, people with a VPN. So what are some of the issues you were running in when people are saying, well, I'm just going to keep it centralized on my VPN, even though I'm working from home. So what's the big downside to that?
The downside of that is speed. The speed is more specific latency, the ability to communicate quickly to your database. You need that fast connection, that fast speed to your database in order to work quick and to work productively. Without that, you're going to find a lot of time sitting there twiddling your thumbs, waiting for something to happen, or you're pushing the button over and over again because you think you did, but it's just taking a long time for it to get back to you.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter what my home internet connection, because if I upgraded to say, some cool Comcast thing, that's not going to help me.
No, it's going to help your gaming, but as far as your work, it will not. It has to do with latency. Speed's one thing, and when I speak of speed, I speak of not the actual miles per hour of your internet. It's more of how can I talk to this, figure out what it is, and come back. That's why working off of a local version is the best way to do it.
The location of those files, how close those files are to the users, that's the key.
Yes, okay, and when you have it local, it's as close as you can get.
It's as close as it can get, exactly.
Thank you, guys. All right, so it's a one-click solution, you said?
Yes, the initial setup, very simple. The end user, your regular everyday guy that is detailing, modeling, whatever you kids want to call it nowadays, it's just a one-button push. That's it.
Awesome.
Excellent. I know one of the other things that you... Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, go right ahead.
One of the other things you talked about, Sean, was the backup that it also gives, being able to back up that database and management of that database. Can you talk to that for a second?
Yes. On the backup, once this is set up, end user doesn't need to worry about it. It's done. You will have a database manager, CAD manager, BIM manager, whatever the particular title is. The person who's responsible for getting this set up and the person who's going to be held responsible when it doesn't work. That person then has, instead of this one button that you see up here that says update working database, you're not going to have three areas that are going to show up there. You're going to have a working, master, and backup. Now, what this is going to allow you to do, the update working database, that's going to do the syncing. There's a backup where if you click the button, it zips up your database, sticks it off to the side in a location that you determine. And if you realize that something has happened, or if a mistake has been made, or somebody accidentally or purposefully deletes a file out of the database, you can just push a button and it'll go retrieve that zip file and restore those files right back to where it was the last time you ran that backup.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the other thing is that helps in keep it maintaining the database because you don't want multiple different versions. You're trying to do things backup, zip, file this local. By doing it this way with the one-way sync, it's going to make sure you don't end up with all of the brackets in your database by keeping it clean and keeping it local.
Great. Everybody is fabricating and is working from a single sheet of music then. Excellent. All right. I think we have a poll question coming up next.
Yes, we do.
Nice. Nicely timed.
Have you ever inadvertently changed your database? And Doug, I think you're doing this one with me.
I'm happy to do this one with you. So as Sean was talking, just mentioning some of the benefits of the Fabsync program, being an IT guy, we kind of operate on what's called a belt and suspenders type environment. It's always good to take care of your stuff, but it's also good to have a backup or two, right? So having that feature definitely fits into that whole belt and suspenders kind of environment. We kind of like that feature. So it's very important to be able to not only just have it, but to have that one click to go back to fix. That's the other part of it. What good is it to have a backup if it's cumbersome and complex to roll back, right? This actually addresses that.
Fabulous. And we're going to go ahead and push that.
Oh. All right. Looks like we got the right audience for this one then. Awesome.
If it would have been the other way, I would have said we've got a lot of fibbers in this group.
All right. So here at this point, we've talked concepts. So I want Sean and Jason, let's give the people what they want. Let's put some meat on the bones here. Let's talk some details about what you're talking about here, Sean, Jason. Why Dropbox?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier Dropbox, and I briefly made a comment about, this is the one for this particular application. The reason why we prefer Dropbox when using and using the database as an example is because of the speed. Dropbox syncs files a certain way. It syncs only the bit of the file that changed. So some cloud software will keep files updated and they will copy the whole file up and copy the whole file down. Dropbox works in a manner that it only copies up the part of the file that was changed. So the speed keeps things going for us because, it's an issue of speed. That's the one of speed.
Mm-hmm.
Latency is when you're reading from your local drive. So Dropbox is where speed is important. Now,
excellent.
Another thing that's good about Dropbox is, you've got the free version, you got the licensed version. As long as your database is at a certain size, you may not have to go through and purchase a license for it. Using the licensed version of Dropbox, not licensed, but the paid for version, you get better the better ability to control the files, and it's a cleaner experience. You can, however, use the free. It's all a matter of what you want to get out of it. I mean, how detailed do you want to get? I recommend, I recommend getting, paying attention to what you need, and then matching the appropriate version to your needs. That's something that we can talk about.
Yeah. So on the IT side of things, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jason.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No. The good thing with Dropbox is a lot of organizations, already have it in place. So you have that option, like Sean mentioned, and then if you don't have it and you want to talk about it, reach out to us, because there's the free version can definitely work especially with a lot of the clients that we see, the size of their database. It's not reaching those limits where it would require you to move to the paid version if you don't already have it.
Gotcha. And on the IT side, because we're always the paranoid ones, we do kind of want to make people consider the paid one, corporate version, because at that point you're controlling the data, the company is, and this is important, property that people need to consider, as opposed to letting people, know what fits your circumstance, understand your situation, like Sean was saying, and definitely keep that in mind that you do want to make sure that you have control of your data. So just putting it out there from the paranoid side of the fence. All right.
Always good to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right. So, an important factor in this whole situation is your workflow. You have to make sure that you've got everything set up right, because if you don't set it up right, you're not going to get a right result out of it. How we handle it generally is we put your Dropbox. Let's say you have your database. You normally keep it on your server. When you go into the office, you're reading it off the server. Well, now the big problem we have when we get back home is, unless you use the VPN, which is extremely slow and not effective, you're going to be. It's just not going to work. By using Dropbox, you get your files stored up in the cloud. Dropbox now takes the place of your server. Now, Dropbox, just like the server, you will be able to see the folders on your computer. When Dropbox is installed, there will be a local location for these files. By putting your database in the cloud, it will then sync down to that local location on your drive. Now, that file, that database on that drive itself, you shouldn't work off of it. You need to make a copy. You need to make a copy of that local version of your database files, because one person's going to overwrite the other. It's just issues. What we do to allow that to happen is we use Fabsync. It's something that is proven. It's something we have done for many clients, and it's something that I do myself when I'm managing databases. This program will look at the local version of your Dropbox and make a copy on your machine, and you will be working off of that copy. You won't be working off the Dropbox. You'll be working off of your own local copy. That is the most efficient way to access the database. Make sure everyone's got access to the files that they need to get their job done, and that's the way to go.
Sean, I'm going to switch over to this next slide because that was kind of what you were talking about there. The one thing that we talked about was the ability to just update that working. You're not, users can't update it and push it back. So you're always maintaining that master, correct?
Yes, and that's what Fabsync does. And that's also another reason why you don't want to read off of your local copy of Dropbox, because people can mess it up that way. Using Fabsync, it syncs it one way. If you mess up your local copy, the Fabsynced copy, say you inadvertently messed up your database, and by pushing a button, it freshens that Fabsync library database back to where it was before you accidentally made a mistake.
Great.
That's a very interesting diagram here. How complex is this to actually implement there, Sean?
It's not complex. If you have the right tools, then it's not. I mean, having Dropbox, having Fabsync, it's quick and it's easy, and you can have your entire department up and running quickly. It's going to give you an efficient way to work off the cloud remotely, and that's going to keep people working. And when you don't have that database, when you don't have it in the cloud, when you don't have it if you don't have your database, you're not working. So this is a simple solution that we can help you get implemented.
Excellent.
One
Excellent.
thing Sorry. One thing I'd like to add is that, this is just one option. There's lots of different ways to do, depending on an organization's workflow and their requirements. So today we were just showing this, one option. But if anybody out there, if they want to talk about this, reach out to us. We can look at your, what your needs are and what your workflows are. And I'm sure we probably have a solution that can help you meet those requirements.
I know we do. We can get this working, no matter what your position is, no matter where you're at. We can get you going.
Yeah, I know. I can speak from personal experience. You did that for a few companies just a few weeks ago, just to kind of, I'm going to brag on you guys. So, we had a company, a few clients, and we had some issues. And honestly, if you're not in production, if you're not fabricating, if you're not getting this stuff going, honestly, it puts you as a company, as a manager and an owner, kind of in a tough spot. What do you do if your people aren't productive? What if your people can't do their jobs? Well, then, you're facing some really hard decisions. And we've already seen, unfortunately, companies, staff reductions. Let's just be honest. Because they're not able to produce, they're not able to do the work, because their people can't be there. So, you, Sean, you, Jason, have really kind of gone out of your way in the last few weeks and help clients to stay productive because, hey, at the end of the day, we're all in this together and we're all here to help each other. And that's our philosophy here at Applied Software. We're in this together with you guys. So Sean, Jason, you guys have been, the workflows, helping the clients, this kind of stuff. So that's me bragging. You guys have done a great job and, helping, keeping people employed. I mean, to be quite honest, is really what it comes down to. So I'm going to say, that's me bragging on you guys. You guys have done great. So As we wrap up here, we have some questions and answers. We're going to pause at the end of this, let people kind of gather their thoughts. But in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit about Applied Software. So, Applied Software is your technology and integration partner when it comes to all these platforms and more. As you can see, Applied Software has extensive background in the best of today's technologies. So we're the exclusive resellers for Evolve MEP products and Evolve Origin. I know Sean's one of his favorites there. And also, since we were kind of a little bit bragging earlier, I'm going to do a little bit bragging now. Applied Software is one of Autodesk's oldest dealers in the world. We've been, our owner, Richard, has been an Autodesk dealer for over 35 years. And we have such a deep bench of experienced individuals. It's crazy. I can't even brag on that enough. One of the other things, we just also happen to be the only Panzera dealer in the world right now with the elite status level. That means we do probably more than anybody else, is what it really boils down to. So I'll stop bragging at that point. But, any of these technologies, all these different workflows, as Jason meant, are very important to you. So at Applied Software, we bring all the experience from your side of the desk, from the actual in-field, as Jason and Sean demonstrate with their skill sets, from your side. We're here to help because we're all in this together. So, Alyssa, do we have any questions that popped up?
Someone asked, is Fabsync freeware?
Sean?
Fabsync is not freeware. It does, if you buy Evolve Origin, which is our fabrication content package, it's basically a pre-built database dialed in, ready to go. It is a part of that. If you want to purchase it separately, it is available for sale.